channel. Today we are working on chapter 11, Programming Challenge 1. And this entire chapter is about creating graphical user interface or GUIs. And this particular programming challenge is to create a retail price calculator where we give the user an option to give the wholesale price and the markup percentage of an item, and we have to calculate the retail price of that item. So we're going to create a class called retail panel, and this class will be a child of JPanel. It will inherit from JPanel, and this class would have 4 members. The first two are labels, wholesale label, and markup label. The next two are text fields, wholesale TF for text field, and markup text field. Then we're gonna create a constructor for this class, the retail panel, and the first thing would be to set the layout. The layout would be grid layout, and it will have 3 rows and 3 columns. Then we're gonna say build panel, and after that we can say private void build panel. So we have to instantiate these 4 classes. The first one would be wholesale label. It will have a label of wholesale price, and you have to copy this multiple times. Copy paste. So the second one would be markup label, and we're going to change the text to markup percentage. The third would be text fields, wholesale text field, which have a different class text field, and you're gonna change this text to number, which is how wide the text field is. In our case, it would be 10 characters wide. And then we're gonna say markup text field, and it will have the class would be text field, and it will have a 10 character wide. After that, we're gonna add to the class, to the panel. The first one would be the label. The second one would be the text field for that label. The next one would be the markup label, and lastly the last one would be the markup text field. Also in this class we have to return these text fields, because we want to make sure that the user enters the numbers, the wholesale price and the markup percentage. So we're gonna say wholesale TF, get wholesale text field, and get markup text field. And that's it for this class. We go to the retail price calculator. This retail price calculator would inherit from JFrame, and it will have a couple of class members. The first one would be retail panel, the class that we created. The next one would be JPanel main panel, and the next one would be button panel. Both of them are JPanels. The next one would be JButton calculate button and exit button. So that's it for the class members. We create a constructor for this class. The last statement for this constructor is set visible for the window. We're going to say true. And we're going to say set default close operations, which controls what happens when you click X of the window. Then we're going to say set size of the window. We're going to say 310 by 200 high. And here we're going to say add. We're going to add the main panel to the frame. And here we're going to say super. We're going to say the title would be retail price calculator. And then I'm going to say main, not main panel, build panel. To build the panel, we're going to say private void build panel. So the first thing that we have to instantiate it is a main panel, new JPanel. Then we have to set the main panel layout to new border layout. Then we're going to say main panel set border. We're going to give empty border to give a space around the corners, a padding, I mean, a gap across all the corners. After that, we have to instantiate the retail panel, the class that we created, and then we have to instantiate the button panel as well. This button panel would have a layout of a grid layout. It will have one row and two columns, and you have to instantiate the buttons as well. We say retail price. That's what we want to calculate. And exit button, JButton. I'm gonna say exit, and after that you're gonna say button panel add. You're gonna add the exit button first, and you're gonna add the calculate button second. Then we're gonna add the button panel to the main panel. And it will be positioned in the south side of the window. Also, we have to add the retail panel to the main panel. This would be positioned to the center of the panel. And I think that would be it. I forgot inside the constructor, when you are adding the main panel to the frame, we have to make sure that it is on the upper side or the north side of the window. You have to position it to the north. I think we are done for setting all the objects. If I'm not forgetting anything, we will create a main method and we will create an instance of this class, and we will run the program and see if everything is working just fine. As you can see, everything is showing up. These buttons are not doing anything because we haven't created a logic for them. So we will create the logic for them now. So I forgot to create a method in the retail panel class. In the retail panel class, we're going to create a method here. We will call public string get retail price we can create a decimal format, a df, new decimal format, and you have to get the wholesale price first. Before that, you have to say retail cost is equal to 0, 0. And you're going to say wholesale equals double parse double. Then you have to get the text field, the wholesale text field. And you have to copy this, paste it here. I'm going to say markup. And the markup would get the markup of the item. And what we want to is to divide the markup by 100 to get the percentage. And you're gonna say retail cost equals wholesale times markup times wholesale. Or I'm not, or I think my math is not good. Markup would be equal to markup times the wholesale price. Then what we're gonna say is retail is retail cost is equal to wholesale plus markup. And lastly, we're going to say return df dot format retail cost. So this method would return the cost of the retail cost. So in the main class, what we want to do is we want to add action listeners to the buttons. The calculate button, add action listener, new, and we will create a private class. We're gonna say calculate button listener, and you're gonna copy this and paste it here, and I'm gonna say exit button as well. Exit button listener. You're gonna copy this, and here under this method you're gonna say private class, paste it here, but we have to implement action listener. Action listener interface, and it will have action performed method. Action performed method, and before we call the calculate retail price, before we call that method, we have to make sure the user entered something here to calculate. Otherwise, our program will collapse. So to do that, we're gonna say text field W wholesale TF. We're gonna say wholesale, and you're gonna say retail panel get wholesale TF, and we're gonna copy this and paste it here, and we're gonna say markup, the markup field, and we're gonna get the markup text field. So before we continue, we just copy this, and we're gonna say private class based implement implements action listener. I'm gonna implement the method, and this class is just simple. We're gonna say system dot exit, and we're gonna exit the entire program if the user clicks the exit button. And we go to our class calculate button class. So after we got the two text fields, we have to make sure they are not empty before we calculate the retail price. Gonna say wholesale get text is empty, and exclamation or negation operator markup get text is empty. If neither of them are not empty, then we can show the retail price. I'm gonna say no. Retail price. I'm gonna say retail panel get retail price. If one of them, if either one of them is empty, or both of them are empty, then you're gonna say J option pane show message no error, you must fill all text fields. Let's run the program again. Okay, so let's say the wholesale price is 100 and the markup is 20%. When we click retail price, it gives us $120. 100 for the wholesale price and $20 for the markup. How about if the markup is 100%? It should give us $200, as you can see. How about if we just don't enter one of them? If we let the wholesale price field empty and click retail price, this is the error. Error, you must fill all text fields. How about if I just don't enter anything in both text fields? It says error. How about if I want to exit the program? It terminates the entire program. So I think we accomplished what the programming challenge wanted. Just to recap, we created a class called retail panel that inherits from the panel. We created 4 instances of the classes panel, label, and text field. Label for the 2 labels, the wholesale and the markup, and we created the wholesale text field for the text field for wholesale and markup text field for the markup. We created the constructor. We set the layout to a grid layout, which has 3 rows and 3 columns. We called this method build panel. These 2 methods are getters to get the 2 text fields, so that we can make sure the user entered the correct amount for each text field. And here in this method build panel, we instantiated all 4 labels and text fields, and we added to the class, which is a panel, to all 4 instances of labels and text fields. Here we created a method called get retail price, created a decimal format to format the output, and here is just a simple calculation to calculate the markup of the item, and we added to the retail cost, and we return the retail cost. In this main method, the main class, retail price calculator, inherits from Java, JFrame. The class has the retail panel as a field member, and JPanel, it has 2 panels, main panel and pattern panel, and it has 2 buttons, calculate button and exit button. The constructor only sets the title of the window, calls the build panel method, and it adds the main panel to the window, and it sets the size, it sets the close operations, and it sets the visibility for the window. And here in the build panel, we instantiate the panels, the main panel, the retail panel, and the pattern panel. We set the layout for them, and we instantiated the 2 buttons, calc button and exit button, and we added the buttons to the button panel, and we added the button panel to the main panel, and we added the retail panel to the main panel. And here is just 2 classes. The first class is exit. It's a private class called exit button listener that would terminate the entire program once the user clicks the exit button. And here's another class called calculate button listener that implements action listener, and this button calculates the retail price once the user clicks. We get the 2 text fields from the retail panel class, and we make sure that the user enters something for both of them before we can calculate the retail price. Otherwise, we send an error message to the screen. And here is the main method. I hope you guys find this helpful. This is the first programming challenge in chapter 11, which is graphical user interface, or GUIs. If you find it useful, please give this video a like. And if you have any questions, please comment down below. And if you want to see similar videos in this channel, please subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.